Welcome back to the channel, Cowboys Nation. Today we've got something really special for you, an in-depth breakdown of the top 6 extension candidates currently on the Dallas Cowboys roster, including some big names and emerging stars like Micah Parsons, George Pickens, Tyler Smith, and DaRon Bland. As we head deeper into the offseason and closer to training camp, the front office in Dallas is beginning to assess its priorities for the long-term future. This team has one of the most talented young cores in the NFL, but keeping that core together isn't going to come cheap. Contracts are coming up, agents are circling, and every move the Cowboys make from here on out will shape not just the 2025 season but the identity of this franchise for the next 5 to 10 years. So let's talk about the 6 names that Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and Will McClay will be laser focused on as potential extension targets, and why these decisions are about much more than just dollars and cents. These extensions could define the future of America's team. First up, there's no way we can start this conversation without talking about Micah Parsons. The moment he stepped on the field as a rookie, it was clear Parsons was different. Fast forward a few seasons, and now he's the face of the defense, possibly even the entire franchise. Parsons has been nothing short of sensational. He's racked up sacks, tackles for loss, quarterback hits, and has constantly been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. His presence elevates the entire defense, and opposing offenses are forced to game plan around him. That kind of impact doesn't just make you a great player, it makes you indispensable. Now here's the thing. Parsons is still under contract through the 2025 season thanks to the 5th-year option, but he's already eligible for an extension. And you better believe he and his agent know what kind of numbers other top pass rushers are getting paid. We're talking Nick Bosa territory north of $30 million per year. That's the going rate for a game wrecker, and Parsons fits that bill better than almost anyone in the league. The Cowboys front office is likely already preparing for some tough negotiations, because waiting longer might only make the price go up. Every sack, every pressure, every highlight reel play Parsons makes in 2025 will just increase his value. So do the Cowboys get ahead of it now and lock him up long term? That's the big question. But while Micah Parsons might be the headliner, he's not the only player on this roster with an extension looming. Another name that's starting to pop up on radar screens around the league is George Pickens. Yes, you heard that right, Pickens is now wearing the star after a blockbuster trade that brought him to Dallas. And the fit has been seamless. In Pittsburgh, Pickens showed flashes of elite potential, but the inconsistency at quarterback made it hard for him to fully break out. In Dallas, with a more stable passing attack and a creative offensive system, Pickens is poised to elevate his game even further. He's got all the tools: size, speed, body control, and the kind of aggressive mindset that you love in a wide receiver. The Cowboys didn't trade for Pickens just to rent him for a year or two. This move was about the long term, and that means a contract extension is probably already on the minds of the front office. Pickens will be eligible for a new deal soon, and with CeeDee Lamb already commanding big dollars as DaRon, the Cowboys will have to carefully manage the cap to ensure they can keep both stars in the building. If Pickens lives up to the hype in his first full season with Dallas, expect the Cowboys to move quickly to secure his services for years to come. The chemistry he's building with Dak Prescott is already drawing rave reviews, and that's exactly the kind of connection you invest in for the long haul. Next up, let's talk about one of the most underrated and absolutely critical pieces of the offensive line, Tyler Smith. When the Cowboys drafted him in the first round, there were skeptics. Some thought it was a reach. Others questioned whether he could handle the speed and power of NFL pass rushers. But from day one, Tyler Smith has been a tone setter. He's played left tackle, left guard, and done so at a high level. His versatility, toughness, and football IQ make him one of the most valuable linemen on the roster. And unlike some offensive linemen who take years to develop, Smith hit the ground running. Now, As he continues to mature and solidify himself as a foundational piece, the Cowboys have to be thinking about keeping him in Dallas for the next decade. Elite offensive linemen don't grow on trees, and Tyler Smith is quickly entering that elite conversation. His extension likely won't come with as much fanfare as someone like Micah Parsons, but make no mistake, it's just as important. Keeping Dak Prescott upright, opening lanes for the run game, and anchoring that line for years to come is absolutely vital if this team wants to compete for a Super Bowl. An early extension for Smith could also end up being a cost-saving move in the long run, locking in a rising star before his price tag explodes. Speaking of rising stars, let's shift our attention to DaRon Bland. What a story this kid has been. From day 3 draft pick to one of the league's most dangerous ballhawks, Bland has taken his opportunity and run with it literally. His knack for reading quarterbacks, jumping routes, and turning interceptions into touchdowns has made him a fan favorite and a key cog in the Dallas secondary. When Trayvon Diggs went down with injury, a lot of people wondered if the Cowboys' pass defense would suffer. Instead, Bland stepped up and elevated his game to another level. That kind of production doesn't go unnoticed. The Cowboys have built a strong foundation in the secondary, and extending Bland would go a long way toward maintaining that strength. The timing is also favorable. He's eligible for an extension soon, and striking now might allow the Cowboys to secure him at a reasonable rate before the rest of the league catches on. With cornerbacks like Pat Surtain II and Sauce Gardner likely to reset the market soon, Dallas would be wise to get ahead of the curve. Bland may not be a household name yet, but his impact on the field says otherwise. And if you want a secondary that can keep up with today's high-powered passing attacks, you need guys like DaRon Bland locked in and ready to roll for the long term. Another name that's quietly building momentum as a potential extension candidate is Jake Ferguson. Tight end is one of the toughest positions to master in the NFL because you're essentially learning to be both a wide receiver and an offensive lineman. But Ferguson has embraced that challenge. He's developed into a reliable target for Dak Prescott, especially in the red zone and on third downs, and his blocking has improved significantly. While he may not be Travis Kelce or George Kittle, Ferguson brings a toughness and consistency that the Cowboys value. And with the team still figuring out exactly how to replace Dalton Schultz's production, Ferguson has filled the void admirably. He's not flashy, but he's dependable. And in a league where injuries are common and tight ends who can block and catch are rare, that's a skill set worth investing in. A moderate extension for Ferguson could provide stability at the position and allow the Cowboys to focus their draft capital elsewhere. Plus, keeping Dak comfortable with familiar targets is always a wise strategy. Ferguson might not command top dollar, but his value to this offense is undeniable. He fits the culture, he fits the scheme, and he fits the long-term vision. And finally, let's talk about Osa Odighizuwa. Defensive tackles often don't get the love they deserve, but Odighizuwa has quietly become a force on the interior for the Cowboys. His ability to collapse the pocket, disrupt running lanes, and play with relentless energy makes him a nightmare for opposing offensive lines. In a league where trench play still dictates success, having a disruptive interior lineman is a huge asset. Osa isn't just a run stuffer, he's a playmaker. And he's developed under Dan Quinn's system into a player who can stay on the field in all situations. As the Cowboys look to keep their defensive front intact, Odighizuwa is a name that deserves serious consideration for a new deal. The timing also makes sense. He's entering that critical window where extending him now could result in cap flexibility later. With Parsons on the edge and Osa collapsing the pocket from the inside, the Cowboys have a defensive formula that works, and keeping that intact is going to require smart, timely investments. An extension for Osa would send a strong message. The Cowboys aren't just chasing stars, they're rewarding hard work and production at every level. So there you have it, 6 names that the Cowboys front office needs to keep at the top of their list when it comes to extensions. Micah Parsons is the franchise cornerstone, and will likely command a record-breaking deal. George Pickens is the new toy with superstar potential, and getting him locked in would ensure a dynamic 1-2 punch with CeeDee Lamb. Tyler Smith is the quiet force who's become the anchor of the offensive line. DaRon Bland is the ball-hawk corner who keeps proving people wrong and making plays. Jake Ferguson brings grit and reliability to the tight end spot, and Osa Odighizuwa gives you that interior presence that championship defenses are built around. Each one of these players represents a different aspect of what makes the Cowboys dangerous. And together, they form the core of a team that believes it can contend not just this year but for years to come. Of course, extensions don't happen in a vacuum. The salary cap, other contract demands, and future draft picks all factor into the equation. The Cowboys will have to make some tough calls. Not everyone can be paid top dollar, and that means some shrewd negotiations and possibly some sacrifices. But the teams that win consistently are the ones that plan ahead, reward performance, and create a culture of stability. The Cowboys have the talent. Now it's about keeping that talent in-house. With so many stars either reaching their peak or just entering it, the window is wide open. The next few months will tell us a lot about how the Cowboys view their future and which players they believe will lead them into it. Whether it's locking down Parsons before the market explodes, betting on the upside of George Pickens, or solidifying the trenches with guys like Tyler Smith and Osa, the Cowboys have the opportunity to make bold, smart moves. And fans should be paying close attention, because these extensions are about more than just money, they're about building a championship team. Thanks for watching, Cowboys Nation. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Dallas' top extension candidates, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more breaking news, expert analysis, and everything Cowboys. Let us know in the comments who you think should be extended first, and which player is most vital to the team's success moving forward. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and go Cowboys!